Hello, this is Nicola from Kali Yoga. Welcome to Yoga Stories, and I'm talking today with Lisa. Lisa, who is a counselor, life coach, marathon runner, yoga practitioner, and probably much more.
Lots of other stuff.
Welcome. And maybe we can start. Tell me a little bit about what keeps you busy most of the days.
Let's see. So I'm a counselor, so I work 3 days a week, not full days. I structure my work around exercise so that I can fit in all the fun stuff. So I run, swim, bike, yoga, gym, hike, whatever, like just fun.
Yeah.
It's all fun.
Yeah.
And yoga's always been a big part of my life. Like, I know people think of me as a runner first, but actually the other day when my knee was sore last month or whatever, I said it would be worse if I couldn't do yoga than run.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that myself, but I know that most people wouldn't think that. They would think, oh no, you would miss running so much. Well, yeah, I would, but if I had to choose and one was cut out, I would not live without yoga.
And didn't you have some injury that you couldn't run for a while?
Well, I had an injury in February, and so I backed off and was sort of just sporadically in March, April, I guess, like that. So I could do everything else, just running was the thing that hurt. So I just stopped. And that was fine. You know, I could walk, no problem. I could walk up Cobble Hill Mountain and do that. I just couldn't run. So, yeah. So yoga is just, it's just part of my life.
When did you get to yoga and how did you find yoga?
I was trying to think of exactly how I kind of found it. I know I had taken a meditation class at the Vancouver School Board. Vancouver School Board has great classes. And one of the things I took was a meditation course in 1999. And then I think yoga intersected around the same time. So I went to, I think there was a club I was in and they had a yoga class, and then I went to Yoga West on 4th and Elma in Vancouver. That's still there. I actually Googled it to see if it was still there.
Yeah.
And it is. Yeah. And it was Kundalini yoga. And I didn't know anything about yoga. I started there and I loved it. They were so nice, and I got tea at the end, which I loved. And
Lovely.
and then I would always just go once a week. Like, I'd do all the other stuff. I was doing triathlons and stuff like that, and all kinds of, and I'm working much more than I work now.
Were you a counselor already at that time? Or did
I was working, in a sort of not private practice, but in a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
Working with families. Yeah. So I was working with children, and then I started working with families around that time, somewhere in that zone. And then, and I just started yoga, and then my dad died in 2001. And then yoga really just, it was the thing that saved me. Like, I just, even now I think about it.
Wow.
It saved me.
In what way, if I may ask?
It was the only way that I could just not think about it and let myself think about it at the same time. Like, and just relax. And in that Kundalini yoga in Yoga West, I think I cried every single yoga.
Aww.
I never got out of there for probably a full year.
Especially Kundalini yoga can do that, really trigger things, yeah.
Yeah, so it was really, and they were so nice. I mean, nobody cares. I mean, I've been to many yoga classes, and I've seen many people cry. Obviously, my profession, everybody cries. But it was the thing that, just like, and so I never stopped. Like, it was just like, oh, this is my go-to always for everything, aside from the fact that it gives my body an ability to do all the other fun stuff I like to do.
Yeah.
So, and it just has the spiritual component for me too, the meditation part. And then I think I started going to Semper Viva after that. I don't know what happened, how I didn't continue with Yoga West, I don't know. So Semper Viva in Vancouver, and she had a class at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I could go before work. And in the wintertime, she would light candles. It was pitch black. So it was just candles. Her name was Janet. And she was amazing, and I loved her. And she got me through my first marathon. She said, you can do anything for 1 minute. So when I was running New York Marathon, I had her in my head. You can
1
do anything
minute
for
at a
1
time.
minute. You can do anything for 1 minute. And then the last, 6 miles, it's you have to do anything. Like you just do anything to get through that.
And 4 hours later,
Yeah.
you're still thinking just another
Yeah,
minute.
just 1 more minute. Just 1 more minute.
No.
So that was really, and I just loved my yoga. I did that for years. Semper Viva.
So do you think how does yoga play with your marathon or some more of the extreme sports that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean it's. See, now I haven't run a marathon in a while. I probably won't run a marathon. I've done 13. I think that's plenty. But it just calms the mind. Like I'm not very competitive. I know people think I am because I'm a decent runner. I do lots of sports. But there's something about my mind that is ability to just calm down and not have that stressful competitive thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to do my best, but it's not stressful to me.
Talking with others, it seems to come back to that yoga helps with the idea that the competition is, towards yourself. So yes, you want to do your best, you want to prove your best. And I guess with the running, it's the same thing. Yes, at the race, you are competing with others, but at the end, you want to do your own best, and it doesn't really matter if you ran it a second faster than another person.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah. And it's all about being in my body. And then that's the other part of yoga. I stay in my body. And, I've always been sporty, and just when I was a kid, I just wanted to play outside, right? That's what I wanted to do. And I love gymnastics. That was another thing I loved when I was a kid. So yoga has that sort of feeling to it, right?
Yeah.
And, and I always think, I always prescribe yoga to people, my clients, like, have you tried yoga? Have you, just any yoga would do, restorative, if you like it. If you don't like it, try another one. You'll find one you like. I always say that to people. If you don't like yoga, try another one. Because it's not the right teacher or the space or whatever it is for you. You will find a yoga you like.
Why would you prescribe it? What's exactly the goal or the purpose that you think you might see?
Stress relief, for sure.
Yeah.
Number one, stress relief, for sure. And I have a lot of clients with body stuff going on, right? Women and bodies. It's so complicated. So in yoga, I know it would seem like, especially in Vancouver, everybody's looking in their little Lululemon outfits or whatever, and they look perfect or whatever. That's just not reality. It's not true either. But the perception is, I can't do yoga, it's too hard, I don't have the body for it, I don't whatever. And yoga works the opposite, where you don't try to punish. You're not thinking about your body the way it's supposed to look or isn't looking, or the punishing part, it goes away.
Yeah.
And in any other sport, and in yoga is it a sport? I don't know what it is. But most sports can be punishing for your body. You're not living up to something.
Yeah.
And yoga is just not that.
Yeah.
So every single client I ask.
It should be, at least, but
it should be.
It is amazing how often I still hear this. For example, just yesterday I got an inquiry: is there a weight limitation of joining your class? And
That's
how sad
so
is
sad.
that somebody actually
That's
feels
really
I might be
sad.
too fat to do yoga.
Yeah.
But this is still, as you say, there's a little bit that image, and unfortunately, social media still portrays yoga as those super fit, slim, sexy young people being out there on the cliffs doing their pretzel pose, which might be one aspect, but it certainly is not what I personally think yoga should be and could be.
Yeah, and it is for everybody. And there's the calming, the mind calming, the connection with your body, especially people with body image stuff. It's probably one of the best things someone can do. I have people with eating disorders, with disordered eating, with a history of bulimia that come in to see me, and I'm like, have you tried yoga?
No.
Just to have it, even if you just get there once a week, just to connect with your body in a different way. It doesn't cure it, but you do connect in a different way with your body.
And I guess to get to the bottom of all those kind of disorders, to be true to yourself. Where am I right now? How do I feel inside? And being okay with that is probably one of the first and most important parts.
Yeah. And it's fun, and I like music, so that's part of it.
Puts it all together.
I like the music part.
Now, one thing I always, it's amazing that I have, a counselor here, because one thing that always I wanted to ask one, especially in combination, how do you combine? Nice, thank you. How do you combine the counseling and the yoga in the sense that, and maybe that's a wrong perception I have about counseling, but my perception is that counseling is so much more about going back to the past, reliving maybe traumas or things that happen, re-feeling, going really into it, seeing it, talking about it, and I'm sure there's a big benefit in doing that. But compared to more, the meditation, the Eastern philosophies, which have a lot of it is detachment, somewhat from that. So not dwelling in that and going further and further, but rather say, okay, allowing yourself to feel what you feel, and then still.
Right.
So how does that in your mind, how does that compare or connect or can be combined?
Well, you can't detach until you've looked at it. Because as long as it's running your life, if someone comes to counseling, something is off. Something's out of balance, something's not working, maybe relationships are hard, maybe someone's sick, I don't know, some grief, something's off. So they come in, and most of the time, people that come in have been pushing that stuff away, not detaching. They may use the word detaching, but they have not. So try pushing like a beach ball underwater. It's going to keep popping up, and you keep pushing, and it keeps popping up, and so
the image, and that makes complete sense.
So until you've just looked at it, and when I first meet people, they're not diving in the first. I don't know what they want, right? Maybe someone doesn't want to do that. Most of the time, I help people to get stable first. Like, let's build some foundation first. So that's when I might ask, what do you do for yourself? Do you run? Do you walk? Do you swim? What do you do? Do you do yoga, meditation? How's your food? How's your sleeping? Like, all of those kind of things first. And I might spend, 5 sessions on just getting some stability first. Before I might ask, parents alive, how many siblings do you have? So I have a little idea of who they are. But in the beginning, they need to get stable, because people are coming in, they're not stable. Even if they're functioning, most of my clients are high functioning individuals with good jobs and nice husbands and wives and kids and stuff going on in their lives, very high functioning people, that something has gone awry, or they just haven't looked yet. They just want a little bit more. And maybe they've been doing that. And then once you've looked at those things, then you have more of an ability to sort of step back and go, oh yes, that happened to me. Yes, I remember that. That was hard. And I'm still not in that pit anymore. So that's that detachment piece, right?
And then you can do that. That makes sense,
Yeah. So then you're less likely to have it be running your life, because as long as you're stuffing, it's actually running your life in the way that you don't want it, right?
And maybe that is a little bit also why some people come and try yoga once, twice, and then they say, oh, it hurts, that isn't for me. And others who come back because they're willing to look at where they're at, accept where they're at, and just work from there without, we all have our crap going on. Let's just see where we're at and start there.
Yeah, and it's not a fix.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm not a fix either. Like you can't. Like, some people joke. Can you? How long? I don't know.
That fix thing. Oh my God! How often I struggled as a yoga teacher with this. Is there a pose you can give me? My knee hurts. What poses can I do? Or shoulder hurts. Can we do some shoulder stretches? Doesn't work that way.
No.
Doesn't work that way.
It's also the same sort of metaphor for counseling, because it's like my husband is doing this, my wife is doing this, or it's the money. It's not all those things, actually.
What can I do?
Yeah, can you just tell me to fix this thing? And I mean, sometimes there is an easy fix. I mean, when people have financial stuff, I have a money person I send them to. You know, there's solid things that actually, you know.
Or other help.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know.
Like,
very much the same. When somebody comes and my shoulder really hurts, I can't move. Can you give me a pose? Maybe it's time to see a doctor or a physio or whatever. Because I am not a doctor. And I'm not a physio. There are certain things I cannot do.
And also when sometimes the shoulder or the knees, like for me, if my knees are hurting, it's probably not my knees. That's the symptom. It's probably my hips or my back, or I'm connected to the hamstring. Like, and that's the same in counseling. The symptom is what's happening out here, but the cause is some other thing.
Yeah.
The symptom is, you're fighting with your wife or whatever it is, but that's just a symptom.
Else.
So it's the same thing with yoga. It's like you've got some symptoms going on, but you need to sort of scan the whole body and move the body in a different way than you've been repetitively, as we do over and over again by the time we hit 60.
Yeah, I guess that happens. Yeah, and it's actually amazing. It's fascinating how much similarities there are, no?
Yes.
And I can see that it goes well hand in hand. It doesn't, conflict, but it actually goes well hand in hand.
And for my personal, like, I have to contain myself when I'm working with somebody. Like, people are going to say things that are similar to my story and my life. Of course they are, which benefits them, but I also have to stay inside myself. So, I mean, all counselors work with someone, higher than that, like a supervisor. We call it a clinical supervisor, somebody that will take someone to, like, say somebody says something that's similar to something or reminds me of something, and then I'll go to that person. Usually every 2 months you have an hour check-in or whatever you have. And I'll say, yeah, this person said this and I wasn't sure how to work with them because it brought up my own stuff, or, but yoga also helps with that because it's a way that I can relax. It helps me stay inside, not get caught up in somebody's story that is, I mean, every counselor, the buttons get pressed. Even with friends, someone tells you a story.
Well,
it's,
on the other hand, I think it's also a bit unrealistic to think that you can be completely impartial and that you are a person, and very often we come to our professions because we had our own experiences and worked through things, and that brought us the interest, the sympathy, the empathy, and all that's needed. A person who was never having to deal with own things probably wouldn't even become a counselor.
No, exactly.
And maybe that's okay to bring in a little bit your own story.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Without imposing it.
I throw examples in, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it just happened yesterday. I said something to somebody in the session. I said, oh yeah, because we do this, because that's the same as me. That exactly. She goes, oh, thank God, I'm so glad you said that, because I could not figure this thing out. I'm like, no, this is what's on the other side of this. This is, and I also practice yoga every day. Like, my mat is beside my bed, so I can roll it out. I tried it in very different rooms in our small house. The best place is beside my bed, because I know I'm going back into my bedroom and it's going to roll out. And I do at least 10 minutes, but usually more, just to get a little stretch and have some time. And then I go to a weekly yoga anyway. But it just helps with, not getting too involved. Yeah. And then a counselor can end up trying to fix somebody. And part of my professional caretaking is using yoga, for sure. Like, it's just part of it. Yeah. Meditation, yoga, running in the woods, all the other fun stuff. But
if you compare yoga to some of your other activities, because I run a little bit, not marathons by all means, but I certainly feel, especially running can often give me a very, very similar effect of calming the mind and that rhythm, that rhythmic movement, the breathing and all that. Compared to the effects that you get through especially long distance running, what does yoga add, or what's different with yoga that gives you that effect?
One thing, well, there's other people. Sometimes I run by myself. So I run once a week with someone. Most of the time I'm by myself. Like I run 3 times a week. So there's a community, which I love, that's different than solo sports. So there's that aspect that I like, because I'm an extrovert. I like to be around people until I don't want to be around people, and then I'm by myself running in the woods. So I talk to people a lot because I do that for work. But and my body feels different. It's a different sensation than running. Usually, if I've got something on my mind, I think real intense things, a run in the woods is probably more effective. Because sometimes I can't turn my mind off with yoga. So I need something more strenuous. And I think we all do. I think we need something, even if it's dancing around your kitchen. You need something that turns the jets up a little bit. And sometimes yoga is not going to do that. And I know myself, like I know what I need and when I need it. Like I'm used to it. I've been practicing this for a long time.
It's awesome to have all those different tools in your pocket. To be able to choose. But wouldn't that be nice if everyone would start their work with, as you say, just 5-10 minutes of that? Even if it's just breathing and taking a moment.
Even just sitting down on the mat does something. Like if that's all the time I have in the morning until maybe later, sit on the mat. And just sit on the mat. It's like, okay, I'm down on the mat, I'm crossing my legs, I'm down on the floor like a kid, because, kids are on the floor all the time, adults are not.
Grounded,
and then we end up, 2 months standing. And and I think people make it complicated. I think they think, I can't do it, I don't have time, whatever, buy a pretty mat. Winners have lots of pretty mats. So first get a pretty mat, and start there. I went to a yoga retreat on Gabriola in April. And I thought we were going to do yoga the whole time. It was really great. And we didn't. It was really funny because I was with my friend and thought, we're not doing yoga the whole time. I'm glad. Imagine if you did yoga for 8 hours. It was impossible. But it was so relaxing. It was so relaxing.
Nice.
It was just fantastic. I'd never done a yoga retreat before. Highly recommend it. I slept. Oh, the sleep I had. And I'm a good sleeper anyway. I have good sleep. But my friend is the same. We just loved it. And then it's again just a reminder of how much I loved it. And then both of us got a little bit more diligent about always getting on the mat every day, whatever. And not in a crazy, discipline, but not punishing. Just that's what I do. Just like eating.
But isn't that? It's. I guess it is just our culture where that relaxing part. It's just tricky to not find time for, take time for. Because at the end we all have the same 24 hours. It's just what priorities we have, and. Doing things just seems to be always higher priority than allowing things to happen.
And it's
especially
just another way
to a high-strung person like
right. And it's just another way to push that ball down. Right? That's why people don't want to slow down. I usually start every session, if people want it, people usually like it, with a meditation, sort of 5 minutes in my sessions. And people go, I don't know why I'm crying. They didn't come in crying. They didn't think they had anything to cry about. But they slow down for 4 minutes and they start crying. And that's because you've got stuff that you haven't talked about or looked at. And that sometimes there's no reason for it. It's okay. You don't have to have a reason.
So we keep on running and doing and achieving to feel good about ourselves.
Keep that stuff at bay.
Feel accomplished, feel successful, feel we are doing the right thing.
And it's a false sense, right? It's a false sense of happiness or achievement, because you just keep having to find the next thing. the next bright shiny thing to make you feel good about yourself, right?
No.
And that's what's nice about yoga too, is there's no bright shiny thing at the end.
No.
There's no, well, I mean, there are yogas that you can go and, you know, really work hard and get all
Yeah, you know,
whatever,
sometimes,
and
as you
that's
say,
a
the
purpose too.
physical
Yes.
strength and keeping the body fit,
Yeah.
it is important too.
Yeah, and it has a place for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I certainly find as I grow older, my yoga practice changes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely, I find the value now of slowing down and
Mhm.
going back to the basics and discovering all those little things that I know I did not pay attention to in my mid-20s when I started.
Yeah, and we didn't have to.
Exactly.
Right? Like you can sort of get away with things
Yeah.
in your mid-20s and 30s that you can't really get away with in your 40s and 50s. You know, it's the same as when people go out, you know, drinking and partying in their 20s and 30s and don't get a hangover, and in their 40s to just about die.
It changes, doesn't it?
2 drinks, like, oh.
And you can sleep in. That's the
Yes,
thing,
and you
you
can
know. The
sleep
few
in.
times when I'm awake after midnight, I'm still awake at 6:30.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, right? Your body just doesn't recover.
Mm.
So you need different things as you get older, you know, and more restorative
Yeah.
things in life, just more restoring,
Mm.
you know. Mm-hmm.
If I can just ask you, because you just seem to have everything, you know, going there for you. How do you do that to get the discipline to do the yoga every day, do the running, do this, you know, go to your job? What exactly gives you that motivation, that discipline?
Yeah, I am disciplined, I know that. But I do like it. So it's not, I mean, sometimes like yesterday, I was like kind of slow. I usually run Thursdays and I was like, I was going to go, but I needed some more motivation.
Mm.
So some days are like that, but I usually just say, well, you were going to run today and I love running and I run with a group on Saturdays, so you have to kind of keep up. So I just kind of, sometimes I will talk to myself about how I'll feel afterwards. So that does help sometimes. And as soon as I'm out there, it's 5 minutes and I'm happy to be it's in the woods. It's beautiful, right? So I will do that. And I also give myself permission if I was tired, I would have just come home.
Yeah.
Like some days I'm tired, like so I don't go.
And I can imagine what I hear, that you have been like that all your life.
Mhm.
And I guess if you instill those habits early enough in your childhood, teenagehood, it probably is much easier to keep that going.
Yeah. And I must say, I love clothes.
Hmm.
So if I mean, it's just true. I love clothes. So I can keep myself at a certain weight so I can still wear the clothes I love.
Yeah.
And I know it's a silly thing, but I love clothes.
You know what? There is nothing wrong with that. Admitting a little bit of vanity.
Yeah, and we do. I have a family I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers and a mom who still looks amazing at 93. And we had that going, like, looking good, you feel good when you look good.
Yeah.
Right? So there's part of that, but it's
Yeah.
also, most of it is just like, it feels nice.
Yeah.
I know what I feel, if I've been injured, and it's only every time I've been off like a month or something, it's awful. And I think, well, when I broke my foot, it was 6 months, I couldn't really do much. And I was like, wow, this is the rest of the world? This is what they feel like?
Yeah.
Like I was doing yoga on the floor with my boot on, trying to do that. I could, I was doing all kinds of crazy things to get moving. And I experienced what most of the world feels like. I'm like, I don't want to feel that way again.
It must be terrifying. Honestly, I have never had, little sickness, whatever, but never had really debilitating long-term pain.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine how that is if you, for years, months, years, or for all your life, just cannot move a certain way or pain.
Yeah, I know.
That I can't imagine. It must be really, really terrifying. As in the sense of motivating you to do things that might make you feel a little bit better, but it still hurts.
Yeah, and I got the experience of that, the taste of what it would be like if I didn't have the discipline. Yeah, and the discipline to me is just sort of, it's not sort of discipline as when you're in trouble as a kid or something. It just feels like, oh yeah, this is what I do, and I schedule my day, right? Like I don't see clients early because I like to exercise in the morning. It feels better.
Yeah.
And when I used to work, like okay, I'd put my gym bag in the car because I'd have to go. You know, I took myself in the car, like a lot of planning, and planning helps a lot. And I do talk to people about that even in counseling. It's like, yeah, but I can't get myself, okay, let's see what will work for you. So one of the things I just do is I plan ahead. Yeah. Like I know what I'm doing, and I can be flexible around it. I can run in different spots. Somebody might invite me somewhere. I might swim instead of bike, or you know, mix it up. Yeah. But generally, I know that I'm going to do something, and it's going to be fun, or I'm not going to do it. It's not fun. I can't do it.
Yeah. That helps a lot. Just to finish up, to close maybe with that one last question, because it really seems you're so inspiring with that. I love it, but I know that so many people struggle with exactly that. They know it should be good, and they know they should do it, but they just don't find that strength or whatever it is, or that discipline to actually, you know, pull it off more than a couple days in a row. In your profession, is there anything that you can suggest to people? What brings you to the mat every day, or whatever it is that you choose to make you feel better?
Well, I think one thing is you can choose a buddy, sometimes two people. Like two, because then one bails, you have another one. That's another thing. That's one thing that helps a lot, is choosing someone else that would do it with you, even to meet you at the yoga place. Yeah. That's the nice thing about yoga, is you're going to see other people. Like online would not, I did it a few times, it does not work for me. You know, part of it is there's people, and there's people like you. If people are going to a yoga class, you already know they're like you. Like you already have something in common. You're all liking this place. So, and I honestly think yoga is a good place to start. If you, let's say you wanted to run 5K, your goal was in the next year to run 5K, start with yoga. Because if you don't do anything, yoga is not going to hurt you. If you're smart, don't do it too hard. But so start with yoga. That's what I love about it. Everybody can do it.
You know, you can build your discipline from there.
And then you start to feel better about your body. You start to feel better about yourself. You hear other people, you're around other people, and then that starts something.
And then you run to class.
And then you run to class, ride your bike, as I used to do. So yeah, I would say that. I think finding a buddy, don't make it too hard, don't do it too many times a week. Start with once a week, whatever it is, if it's walking or yoga, once a week. Not 4 times a week. Just try one.
And finding something that you love. I think that is.
Yes.
You mentioned a couple of times, and I think that's important, because if you don't like it, then
and keep shopping.
Your motivation will fade.
And get the right clothes. That's another thing. Because somebody lately said to me, I went out and got some good stuff. I got a good pair of runners, my nice yoga pants, and a nice shirt. I feel so much better.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you have to spend a shitload of money, but something you feel good in, that fits
I
at
think
least.
she went to Winners actually. And she got some color that she liked. She'd never had it before, and she just felt so good.
Oh, lovely.
So because you feel better. Like your favorite color on, or whatever it is you have. Yeah.
Wonderful, awesome suggestions. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Yeah, it was great.
That was really inspiring.
I love talking about yoga.
Yeah. And thank you very much for joining us for this episode. There will be more, so keep on checking in, and hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Nicola.